Hi everyone, my name is Ken Finnegan, and today we're going to be talking about DaemonSet deployment mode for a OpenTelemetry collector. So previously I kind of explained in a other video about the DaemonSet deployment whereby we're telling the OpenTelemetry collector to deploy itself to every node we have in the cluster. So here we can see a cluster with two nodes, and we have two deployments of our OpenTelemetry collector available. And this is what we're looking to achieve. And to do that, we're going to take advantage of the Helm chart and customize it and add some extra bits in there as well. We're also going to kind of cover some critical processes that you might want to include in OpenTelemetry, such as the K8s attributes processor, which will automatically add a whole bunch of Kubernetes metadata as resource attributes to the telemetry you're generating. So let's have a look at what we need to do for that. So I have a Kubernetes cluster running with kind, and we're going to deploy our Helm chart. Let me see here. So let's just have a look at what we have in our Helm chart right now. So we can see we're doing a DaemonSet mode. We're giving it the collector contrib repo. We're enabling log collection. And we're configuring an exporter here called OTel2e. That is a tool I'm going to be using to show the logs within the cluster, just so I don't have to set up an entirely separate backend. And we've added that exporter into the logs. So let's deploy that now. So we get the message that it's not there, but it's going to create it. And if we get the pods, we can see we have OTel2e running, and now we also have the OpenTelemetry collector running with a single pod. What I'll also do to actually show something interesting happening is we'll deploy a log generator so we can create some logs in our environment, and so we can see them in OTel2e. So let's deploy that. And we should now see that that log generator is running, and all that's doing is just creating a log record every 5 seconds or so. So now if we head over to OTel2e, I'm just attached to the pod that is running this inside Kubernetes. And if we go across to the logs, we can see we're receiving the logs from our OpenTelemetry collector into this environment. And if we scroll through, we can see we don't have a service name. Some of them are from OTel2e containers, some of them from KindNet. Let's have a look, see if we can find our log generator ones further down. There we go. There's the log generator. We can see it's got the log generator container over here on the right, and these are all the resource attributes. We can see the log body down here, which is just that it's the 10th log created, and it's giving the date. And so we have a bit of information there. It's not great that we don't have the service name, so let's go and fix that now. So to fix that, we will edit the values file, and first thing we need to do is add a processor into the file, which will basically create a service name matching the container name of the pod based on the log file. So we add the processor to transform and set the service name. And the other piece we need to add is actually specify that it's part of the pipeline. So to do that, we need to add it in here. So we've specified the transform processor we just created, and we've also added the memory limiter and the batch processor, as they're automatically added by the Helm chart, and we want to make sure they're still there. So if we save that file, and then if we redeploy the collector, and just make sure that that's running good, so that's running without any issue. So now if we head back over to the log viewer, and what we can do here is search for, say, log gen to be a bit more specific. And we can see now that we're actually getting these, it's even for OTel2E as well, but it's creating a service name based on that pod log file. And we can see that the service name is also part of the resource attributes. So that's a bit better. That's improved what we're seeing there, which is good, but we can do better. So now that we've got that information, let's get a little bit more information from our deployments by enabling the Kubernetes attribute processor. So let's go in and edit our values file. And here we need to activate the Kubernetes attribute setting. So we'll install that into this piece here. And that will enable the processor to be created. And we then need to add that processor into our pipeline for logs. Otherwise it won't be used. So let's add that there. We'll save that. And then we'll update our deployment of the agent collector. And that's running there. So let's just check we've got the pods running. Good, it started again. So now if we go over to the log viewer and we say we want to look for log generator entries, and scroll down a bit to make sure we get to a recent one. So as we can see in our log records over here, we have now container name, how many restarts, the namespace our deployment is running in, and some other additional information that we didn't have before. So we can take that a step further and look to add information from our pod labels and annotations. So to do that, we want to enable a couple of more properties in our configuration here. So this is just saying to, oh, these are false. We need to fix that. Oops. There we go. So we want to set these to true. And save that. And then we can redeploy our agent collector. Check if it's running, which it is. And then we can head back over to our log view. And if we research for log generator and scroll down a bit, oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. So what we can see is we now have extra attributes on our resource that came from the labels and annotations on the pod. So we have a app name, we have a version, we have some other annotations here which we added. So this gives you a great way to pull in information you might have on your deployments as part of labels or annotations to give you that extra context about where something is running, what version it is, its particular purpose, or anything like that. So with that done, the next thing we'll do is we'll go back over to the terminal and we'll have a look. So we know we have one pod running with the collector agent, But is that the right number? Because we want to make sure that as a DaemonSet deployment, we have one on every single node. So let's see how many nodes we have running. So here we can see that we have 2 worker nodes. So we should have 2 deployments. So we need to investigate what's going on here. So if we go back to the log viewer and have a look at our log entry, we see the node name over here is kind worker. But if we have a look over here, we also see that we actually have one called kind worker 2, which we're not currently collecting anything from. So let's have a look and see and double check that our pod my node, and we'll pipe that through more. So we can verify, and yes, our currently collector agent is running on kind worker only. So we need to figure out why that is. So let's do a describe on the node. To figure out what the issue might be. Okay, and we can see here that there is a taint on this node. Now, granted, I don't have GPUs on this machine, but it's just a key value pair. So with this node being tainted this way, we need to make sure our DaemonSet deployment for the collector can tolerate this taint to ensure that we're deploying to all nodes in the cluster. So let's go fix that now. We want to edit this, and we need to add into the configuration down here. Oops, we'll add it there. We need to add this toleration to our deployment for the collector agent to say, if this toleration with a key of dedicated and a value of GPU is present, we're fine to run on that node. So if we save that and we deploy it again, and then check how many deployments we have, we can see we're now creating that second container and it's now running. So we have one on each node. So this is an important thing to keep in mind when you're deploying the collector as a DaemonSet, that if your particular environment has any taints that might be present on certain nodes or node pools, you want to make sure that your collector can deploy to all of them. Otherwise, there will be services or pods that you're just not collecting logs from. That's all we have for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.